Hey, Shalom, Israel. This is the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge. Started out of 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under Commander General YAHANNA, man. Hey, today we're going to talk about being a better brother because a lot of things that we are doing right now, we feel like we show each other enough brotherhood, but really and truthfully, we don't. We don't show each other enough mercy and enough brotherhood. And that's the reason why we are still out here killing one another. We are still out here hating on one another. Can't see another black man succeed. Can't see another sister succeed in life because we too busy hating on the fact that they're getting their blessings that they're getting right now, man. So today is going to be a class on how to be a better family member, how to be a better sister to another sister, how to be a better brother to your brother. That's what we're going to talk about today, man. The first thing that you got to know and understand to be a better brother is that you got to have control of self. Now, let's go to Proverbs 25 and 28. Let's start there. And we're going to talk, like I said, this whole class is going to be about being a better brother, being a better sister, being a better husband, being a better wife, being a better person, period, point blank, to your family member, the 12 tribes of Israel, the blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. Go ahead and read once you got it out.
Got it one card. This is the book of Proverbs, chapter 25, verse 28. He that have no rule over his own spirit is like a city that is broken down and without walls.
Understand this, man. If you have no rule over your spirit, it's just like being in a place with no walls. Just think about you being at home. Think about you being at home, and while you at home, you have no walls, you have no shelter, you have no covering at all. That's just like you sitting here and having no rule over your own spirit. You having rule over you not having rule over your own spirit is like you being in a place that you want to call shelter and protection with no walls, no shelter and protection. Nothing is there for you, man. Like if you can't control yourself, how do you expect the people to see light in you? If you're in the I.S.U.P.K and under Commander General YAHANNA and you don't have self-control, like how can people see light in you? How can people look at you and be like, you know what? This man is a changed man. This man is he renewed himself by the washing of his mind, going through the baptism of water and the baptism of fire, going through the furnace of affliction and becoming new. You can't show that if you don't have rule over your own spirit. Go ahead and keep reading, huh?
Got it one card. Like no, that was it for that.
That was it on that?
Got it one card.
So what we are simply saying is this, man. We need to have rule over our own spirit, man. Go to Proverbs 16 and 32. You got to be able to control yourself. And when I'm talking to you, I'm talking to myself also. Like every time I teach a class, I always talk about a daily check. This is something that you daily have to check on. You have to check your spirit daily, because if you don't check your spirit daily, then you will sit here and do something out of your emotions that you will regret. And that's not what we do here. That's not what we want for you. And our job as brothers and priests is to get our people out of this hell. We can't get our people out of this hell when we're sitting here ready to fight our own people because we can't control our spirit. We can't control what we got going on because we too busy listening to words. We can't do nothing if we don't have control over our spirits first. Go ahead and read Proverbs 16.
Got one card. This is the book of Proverbs, chapter 16, verse 32. He that is slow to anger is better than the mighty.
He that is what?
He that is slow to anger is better than the mighty.
Why does it say he that is slow to anger is better than the mighty? Let's just start there. Do you know why it says he that is slow to anger is better than the mighty?
Because he don't let his emotions consume him. You know what I'm saying? Which will cloud your judgment.
Right. Like people that are quick to anger, they mess up. That's why most of our brothers and sisters is locked up in cages right now, locked up in the prison system right now, because they weren't slow to anger. They react based off of the first thing that happens. When you are quick to react and you're not slow to anger, you mess up. And you can mess up monumentally. Like you can mess up to the point where you can't come back. You can't take back what you've done. And that has happened a bunch of times with our people, man. And the Bible is telling you to be slow to anger. The reason why you need to be slow to anger, and the reason why a person that's slow to anger is better than the mighty, is because he calculates everything that he does. He's not sitting here cutting 100 times because he's only measuring once. Nah, he measures 1,000 times to make sure he only cuts once. And that's what we have to do, Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. We have to control ourselves so that way we can measure 1,000 times and come up with the correct plan before we chop down one time.
Right.
Because you got to make sure every strike counts. Every strike counts. With these oppressors that we live and deal with on a regular basis, they are waiting for us to measure once and cut 1,000 times, because that's when they're going to lock us up. And see, all our brothers that, graduated Hebrew Academy, y'all starting to understand what all these instructors and all these brothers that's already went through the furnace of affliction, like y'all went through, was saying. A lot of things we were saying at first, y'all didn't understand because y'all never went through it. Right. Now that y'all went through it, now you understand what your instructors is telling you, man. Now you understand what brotherhood and becoming a priest, like dealing with all the struggles that priests really have to deal with on the other side of that lines with that cover. Now y'all starting to understand that, man. Y'all understood it from the mercy that y'all instructors showed y'all. A lot of y'all thought that we were trying to kill you with doing these exercises, but we weren't. We were training you up so that way you could go through anything. The reason why you go through Hebrew Academy is to train yourself to go through anything. Because if you can make it through, then you can make it through anything. All right?
Come. Finish it, sir.
Go ahead and finish it. Come on.
And he that ruleth his spirit, than he that taketh the city.
Read it one more time, Shalaki.
And he that ruleth his spirit, than he that taketh a city.
Shalaki. And this is something that we also got to understand, man. If you can control your anger and you can control yourself, you can rule a city based off of that, man. Because like I said, everything that you do is strategic. Everything that you do is measuring 1,000 times. Like, there's ways to get the results you want, but doing it in the correct way, in the correct manner. That's what the generals teach all of us. The generals show us through their actions how to calculate everything that you do. And in that, you're being a better brother, because every time it don't always call for you to rah, 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 yell like a lion. The generals taught class on that. Sometimes you don't need to yell. Sometimes you need to be like, well, you know what? I understand that you're yelling, but I understand this. I'm here. And there's nothing that you can sit here and do and say that's going to make me not be there for you. So I know you're upset, but this is the truth. I know you might not want to hear it right now because you're too much in your feelings, and I understand that. When you calm down, let's have a conversation. That right there is how you rule a city. You don't rule a city all the time by showing all your strength. Sometimes your strength is in your silence. Sometimes your strength is in giving mercy onto other people. That's where your strength lies. Sometimes your strength lies in you making the other person feel more comfortable. Like, somebody feels like there's times that we're at the clubs and somebody wants to get riled up. And as the men of the Lord, Our job at first is to de-escalate all situations. We don't want to escalate it because we all know how we are. If one brother falls on a brother, we all gonna fall. So our best bet is, because we know how all the rest of our brothers are, for us to de-escalate the situation and show mercy. Because a lot of people don't understand, when you see one brother in a club, there's a whole bunch of us in there, and we all on the same time. So there's times that people get rowdy in the club, and you have to show them mercy because they don't know what they're doing.
Right.
They're too busy out there trying to drink and feeling like they Superman, but they don't know that the man of the Lord is in the midst, and who he's talking to is somebody that's not a light thing, and that's not a light person. So we all have to have mercy. We all have to show brotherhood by controlling our anger, so that way we can take the cities, we can take the states, we can take everything we want if we control ourselves, control our spirits, control and calculate every move that we make to the point where can't nobody stop it. And that's what being a brother is. See, this is not just for brothers. This is for the sisters too. Sisters, you got to learn how to control yourself. Because a lot of times, sisters, y'all get into arguments with your husband because you might not like what was being said. But if you calculate how you respond to your husband, a lot of arguments wouldn't happen. Your point will be heard more often. Because it's how you come at your husband that's going to show how the conversation is going to go. If your husband is pissed off, mad at you because you're doing something repeatedly, I'm telling you right now, and I'm going to give you the game plan, sisters. Start off by saying, Salakia, sir, if I may, with a calm, soothing, virtuous voice. Salakia, sir, if I may. Salakia, if I offended you in anything that I did, this is what I was thinking. This is how I was trying to come at the situation. If that's not what you want to do, then you know what? I'll do whatever you say. After you say that, sis, say Salakia, if I may, and then talk about what you wanted to bring up. Watch how the conversation goes. Watch how that angry lion calms down and be like, all right, well, let me hear what you got to say. That doesn't mean that you're going to get your way, but your husband will be way eager to hear you out when you come with a soothing, loving voice, than for you to smack your teeth, smack your teeth, rolling your eyes, and coming with an attitude. No man wants to sit here and see that, especially not from his wife. Brothers, this goes for us too. When we getting told what to do from our other ones, men that's above us, we got to check ourselves daily, because if you don't have control over your anger, that's how you end up in councils. That's how you end up losing rank. That's how you end up in a situation where you look like the bad guy, when if you would have just did it correctly, you would have came out on top, or everything would have been equal. There wouldn't have been no problem if you just knew how to be like, well, come on, sir, Salak, if I could. We have to control ourselves. Have to. Because when we don't control ourselves, we leave room for demons to intrude. We leave room for offenses to be given, because when we're in our feelings, you'll say whatever and do whatever to try to hurt the other person. And that's not what we're doing here in the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge under Commander General YAHANNA. We are here to love one another. Let's go to Ephesians 4 and start at verse 31.
This is Book of Ephesians, chapter 4, verse 31. Let all bitterness and wrath and anger and clamor and evil speaking be put away from you with all malice.
Now, what does the word malice mean? Let's look it up. If we don't know what the word malice is, let's look it up. Because right now the Bible is telling us, let all bitterness and wrath and anger and clamor and evil speaking be put away from you. So right now it's already telling you all these things that can cause a problem: the bitterness, the wrath, clamorous, the foolish speaking, the evil speaking of the tongue. Let it be put away from you. Let it not be by you. Let it not come out of your mouth. And it says with all malice. What does malice mean?
Like evil or wickedness.
So it's telling you to put it all away with all malice. So that means don't just be like, all right, I ain't gonna say it. No, be like, no, I'm not finna be wicked. I'm not finna speak like out of anger. Something that I had to learn and something that I'm still checking myself on daily is when I'm mad and I'm angry, maybe that's the time for me to shut up. Because I know my mouth. I could say something that'll cut you. I could say something and I don't even sit here and mean it, but out of my anger, I could sit here and say something that will hurt your feelings. And then I have to go back and tell you Salakia, but the hurt has already been done. That's like me punching you in your face and then coming back and telling you Salakia. Yeah, you got the apology, but your eye still hurts from being punched in the face. And that's something that we got to work on. This is something that we have to deal with. We have to know how to sit here and keep from saying certain things when we're upset. When we upset, it's time to be silent. It's time to be like, all right, no sweat. That's how you become a better brother. A better brother knows how to control his mouth, knows how to make sure that evil things that are being spoken out of, the evil things that the demons in your mind is telling you to speak on, don't come out your mouth. Because at the end of the day, you really don't mean it. Now, calm down first. And after you calm down, if you mean it after you calm down, then that's something different. And at that point, you might want to seek some counsel. Go ahead and keep reading. Verse 32.
Verse 32. And be ye kind one to another, tenderhearted, forgiving one another, even as God, for Christ's sake, hath forgiven you.
Understand this. That's something that it gets hard. But the Bible is telling you right now that you need to forgive one another. This is how you show, and this is how you become a better brother, is forgiving one another, caring for one another. As the scripture just brought out, it says, and be kind to one another, tenderhearted, forgiving one another, even as God, for Christ's sake, has forgiven you. The Most High God has forgiven us and gave us grace, gave us mercy, not because we deserved it, but because he loves us. That doesn't mean for you to go out here and do whatever you feel like doing. That means for you to change. He gave you the opportunity for change. And as brothers and sisters, we have to take that opportunity and not let it slide and not let it fall. Go to Matthew 6:14. Because this is something that our people, we have a hard time doing. Like if someone offends you, you don't want to forgive them. You'll sit here and say, oh, I forgive you. But really and truthfully, you are sitting here holding on to it. You're holding on to a grudge because you really and truthfully don't want to forgive that person, because you want to hold on to it to the point where you have something to go back and be like, nah, you remember that day you did this to me? You remember that day you did that to me? But you wouldn't want the Most High to do that. You don't want the Most High, as being a brother and sister in the truth, you don't want the Most High to start judging you based off of who you was in the world. You remember that day you was on that stripper pole? Sis, you remember that day you was around here smoking weed? You remember that day you was around here hopping from husband to husband, rod to rod? Brother, you remember when you was out there selling drugs in the community? Brother, you remember when you killed that person? Brother, you remember when you sat here and put weed to your lips, cigarettes to your lips? You remember when you sat here and was doing all this wicked stuff, we wouldn't want the Lord to run down all the wickedness that we do. So you need to be loving and caring and tenderhearted to your brother and sister, so that way the Lord would do it for you. And this is the precept right here that will sit here and show you exactly what I'm talking about right now. Go ahead and read it.
This is the book of Matthew, chapter 6, verse 14. For if ye forgive men their trespasses, your heavenly Father will also forgive you.
Read it one more time.
For if ye forgive men their trespasses.
So if you forgive the person that sat here and did something against you and they came back and apologized, if you forgive them, what will happen?
Your heavenly Father will also forgive you.
The Most High will have mercy on you if you have mercy on a person that did something that trespassed against you. But read the next sentence.
Verse 15. But if ye forgive not men their trespasses.
So if you sit here and be like, you know what? Nah, I don't forgive you for what you did. Nah, I'm gonna keep holding this over your head because you were wrong in this. And even though you said sorry, I don't accept that because you shouldn't have never did that in the first place. What does the Bible say? What is going to happen?
Neither will your Father forgive your trespasses.
Then don't expect the Most High to have mercy on you on Judgment Day. If you can't sit here and forgive your people, if you can't forgive the person who has trespassed against you and apologize for it, then don't sit here and expect the Lord to. Because why would you want him to forgive you, but you are too busy holding a grudge to somebody else, and they haven't done as much as you've done? Because the Most High had already said the smallest sin is the biggest thing to him.
Right.
Ain't no small or big sin to the Most High. You eating pork, that's a big thing to the Most High. You smoking weed is a big thing, a big sin to the Most High. Everything we used to do in the world before we got into the truth, and even some of the mistakes that we make in the truth growing as young men to trooper to officers to captains to the generals, even the things that we do now, if you're not being perfect, you are slapping the Most High in the face.
Right.
So if you want forgiveness, you have to be somebody that can forgive. You have to. Not you know, I might not want to. Well, if you don't want to, don't expect the Lord to. That's simple. That's in the scriptures. You forgive your people that trespass against you, the Lord will do the same. But if you don't expect the Lord to. Let's go to Luke 17:1. Let's start here. And we're going to read all the way down to verse 4.
This is the book of Luke, chapter 17, verse 1. Then said he unto the disciples, it is impossible but that offenses will come. But woe unto him through whom they come. Verse 2. It were better for him that a millstone were hanged about his neck, and he cast it into the sea, than that he should offend one of these little ones.
Understand this. What it's saying right here, this is saying, as brothers and sisters, we shouldn't want to do nothing to offend one another. Like it just said it's better for a millstone, a big stone, to be wrapped around your neck and thrown into a sea. So in other words, it is better for you. This is a metaphor, of course. It's not telling you to commit suicide and kill yourself, but it's saying you're better off putting a millstone around your neck and throwing it in the sea than to offend one of these little ones. To offend and the little ones is the Most High's children. We're all the Most High's children. So instead of us offending one another, we should work double time to not offend one another. Because it's better off that we don't. Keep reading.
Verse 3. Take heed to yourselves. If thy brother trespass against thee, rebuke him. And if he repent, forgive him.
Understand this, man. If a situation occurs where a brother offends you, you take it to that brother. Take it to that brother and that brother alone. Matthew 18 and 15. And if that brother says, you know what, Salakia, forgive him. Be like, you know what, hey, I forgive you. And move forward. The reason why you forgive him and move forward is because first and foremost, there's a lot of work to be done. And as brothers and sisters in the truth, we have too much work to be done for us to be arguing over frivolous things. We got too much stuff that needs to be done, man. Christ is not back because we haven't did all our job yet. We haven't gotten all our people out. They're waiting on us. And the reason why they're waiting on us is because we have not completed the order. And our job is to keep completing that order. Keep trying to get our people out of this hell, man. Keep teaching on these streets. Keep showing brotherhood and sisterhood so that way somebody could see it and be like, you know what? I want to be just like them. Let me get into the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge because their brotherhood and sisterhood is so unmatched that I need that in my life. I need that love for my people like these people show each other. That is our job. That is what we are ordered to do. We are ordered to love one another, tell our people what they're doing wrong, teach them how to do it right, love one another, and do the work of the Lord, man. That is our job. That is our duty as brothers and sisters. Because sisters, let me tell y'all something. Y'all are not exempt from following this order. Y'all have to show each other sisterhood. How are these young sisters going to come into the truth and feel at home when the older sisters that's been here are hating one another? How can anything grow? Brothers, how can anything grow when there's too much strife? It's too much plex in the midst of a camp because y'all won't come and talk to one another. Y'all won't forgive one another. You are sitting here hiding your emotions, which you can't hide when it comes to doing the work of the Lord, man. Because if you're not doing if you're not giving your 100%, if you're being lukewarm, understand this, the Lord is going to weed you out. He is going to show it. Because at one point, you was a brother that was always being able to be called on. Now you a brother that nobody calls on. And you don't think that the Lord is weeding you out? You don't think that he's seeing how lukewarm you are? And he's sitting here letting you know that that's going to be a problem for him? So understand this, man. When it says take heed to yourself, and if your brother trespass against thee, you rebuke him. How you rebuke him is doing Matthew 18 and 15. You take it to him and him alone. You talk to him. And if he says Salakia, you forgive him and you move forward. Brother, keep reading.
Verse 4. And if he trespass against thee 7 times in a day, and 7 times in a day turn again to thee, saying, I repent, thou shalt forgive him.
Understand this as well. It just lets you know that if your brother trespasses against you 7 times in a day, and one day he done trespassed, he done offended you 7 times in one day, but every time he offended you and you brought it to him and he said Salakia, what does it say to do?
Thou shalt forgive him.
You should forgive him. You should give him mercy. You should give him love and tell him, you know what, brother? Even though you offended me, I accept your Salakia and we're going to move forward. Because yet again, work needs to be done, man. This is stuff that we have to teach one another. We have to teach the young man coming into the truth and also show them by our actions how to do this. how to have that brotherhood that's unmatched. Let's go to John 17 and let's start at verse 14.
This is Book of John, chapter 17, verse 14. I have given them thy word, and the world have hated them, because they are not of the world.
Understand this. When you came into the truth, you were given the word. There was something that was given unto you that made you come out of the world and come into the truth. And understand what it says. It says, and the world has hated them because they are not of the world. The world has turned their back on us. The world don't understand what's going on with us. They don't understand why we dress the way we're dressed. The world don't understand why we move the way we move. The world don't understand why we don't eat pork, crab, shrimp, lobster, crawfish, catfish. The world don't understand why we sitting here saying Kwam Yasharala when it says rise Israel rise. The world don't understand why we wear garments. The world doesn't understand why sisters have their head covered. The world doesn't understand why we don't celebrate Thanksgiving, Christmas, and all these other pagan holidays. The world don't understand that, so they hate us because we do it. We didn't have as much trouble when we were sinning in the world. When we were sinners in the world, we didn't have troubles. We had a little bit of troubles, but we didn't have people hating on us because we didn't eat pork, crab, shrimp, and lobster. Everybody was happy when we were celebrating Christmas, but when you stopped celebrating Christmas, what happened? Now people thinking that you're crazy. Now people think that you're in that cult because you're sitting here doing something that the Lord wants you to do by him giving you the word through the commanding general, YAHANNA, the generals and the captains that pass it on down to the officers, that pass it on down to the troopers and the young men and the sisters and the children. This is what you are supposed to be given, and the world hates you for it. But that is okay. Keep reading.
Because they are not of the world, even as I am not of the world.
The only thing, understand this. They hated Christ because he was not of this world. He was in the world, but he wasn't of this world. He wasn't doing the things that the people in the world was doing. He was being set apart. He was being holy. And that's what we have to be doing. This is what we have to continue doing. This is why we are the way that we are in here in the I.S.U.P.K. Because we are not of this world. Keep reading that.
Verse 15. I pray not that thou shouldest take them out of the world, but that thou shouldest keep them from the evil.
Keep reading.
Verse 16. They are not of the world, even as I am not of the world.
Understand this. We're not going to be taken out of this world just because we are in the truth. What ends up happening is we separate ourselves from the people that are still in the world. Like, just because we're sitting here on this planet, on this earth, in this world, doesn't mean we have to do the things that are of this world. We don't have to be taken away just because of that. The only thing we got to do is fight the evil, fight the urge to sin. That's all we have to do. Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, our test is every day. And for us to pass a test, we have to fight the urge to sin. Fight the urge to offend one another. Fight the urge to yell at one another and hurt one another because of our own trauma, our own pain, our own anger. We have to fight the urge to do those things. Fight that evil. Because we can't build nothing when we're too busy tearing down one another. Go ahead and keep reading now.
Verse 17, sanctify them through thy truth. Thy word is true.
Keep reading.
Verse 18, as thou hast sent me into the world, even so I also sent them into the world.
Understand this, the same way that Christ came into this world and did everything that he did is the same way he's sending us, the brothers that are in the truth, the priests and prophets, into this world to do it. And sisters, understand this. Yeah, y'all not supposed to be teachers, but through y'all's light of being a sister in the truth, y'all can make other people want to come into the truth. Because most people don't understand about multiple wives. But if they see a woman dealing with that and dealing with it with grace and still being a loving spirit to her husband, they'll be like, oh, okay. Her husband and that's her. So they have the same husband, but yet they're still working together. They're hand in hand with one another. They're not making this a problem. Oh, see, there's something here that the Lord must be here. Oh, this sister, I've never, like, there's sisters out here in this world that's never been shown true love. And they can use love from their sisters. Their sisters, y'all sisters can change the spirit of any young woman that comes into the truth. But y'all can also mess it up if y'all are not correct. That's the same way for brothers. When we got these young men that has the zeal that we're looking for, we have to make sure that we are right. When we go out on the streets and we teaching, we got to make sure that we are right. Because there's people that are looking at us at all times. Because through us, they should be able to see the light of the Most High in Christ through the truth in his words. Let's drop that right there. Let's go to Ecclesiastes. Matter of fact, just because I brought up being a light, go to Matthew 5 and 16. Go ahead.
This is the book of Matthew, chapter 5, verse 16. Let your light shine before men, that they may see your good works and glorify your Father which is in heaven.
Understand this. Why are you supposed to let your light shine? Are you supposed to let your light shine so that way you can be congratulated amongst these men? No. You are supposed to let your light shine so that what? Read the last part.
And glorify your Father which is in heaven.
So people can see your light and glorify your Father which is in heaven. You're supposed to let your light shine so bright and people are supposed to see it to the point where they show the Most High God all the praise, all the love, all the glory and everything. They supposed to see you and be like, you know what do I got to do so that way I can let my light shine like that? Like, what do I got to do? Because how you letting your light shine, I need to let my light shine. And that's through the truth. Here and only here in the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge, under the commanding general YAHANNA, we let our light shine all day, every day. Because we are trying to get our people out of this hell. Go to Luke 1 and 79.
This is the book of Luke, chapter 1, verse 79. To give light to them that sit in darkness and in the shadow of death, to guide our feet into the way of peace.
Understand this. We have to be a light. We have to show the truth and be so bright to those people that are sitting in darkness. There's so many of our people that are in darkness. And the reason why they're in darkness is because they have not seen your light yet. And we have to do good at showing our light to all our people. So that way, it says to give our light to them that sit in darkness and in the shadows of death. Right now, our people are held by death. Our people are drug addicts. Like, it's such a big problem right now about our people being drug addicts, man. And everybody is just making it legal now. It's making it okay for everybody to be a drug addict. And we have to show that light in darkness that it's not okay to be a drug addict. It's not okay to sit here and smoke weed, pop pills. You know how many people are dying from fentanyl poisoning? Overdosing on fentanyl? Like, and now they want to call it people being drugged by fentanyl. No, what's happening is this. Y'all are sitting here buying the drugs that y'all are not supposed to have. And the people that's selling it to you shouldn't even be able to sell it to you. But what's happening is y'all are not stopping the cycle. Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, we should stop being drug dealers. That's how we show brotherhood. Let us stop being drug dealers. Let us stop being drug users. Let us stop everything that the Lord wanted us to stop doing. Let's stop being homosexuals. Let's stop sitting here allowing pedophiles to be around. Let's stop doing all the things that Christianity taught us that is okay. Christianity has taught us it's okay to sin because Christ died on the cross. That was the biggest lie that was told, that it's okay to sin because Christ died on the cross. And it's not. So you're telling me now it's okay. And this is something I want you to ask your Christian pastor. He says it's okay to sin because Christ died on the cross. Ask your Christian pastor, is it okay for you to walk in his church with a gun and take every ounce and every penny that goes in that collection plate and take it home with you? Ask your Christian pastor, why do we still give tithes if all the laws are done away with? Why do we sit here and do anything that is a law, statute, or commandment if all the laws are done away with because Christ died? Ask your Christian pastor that and see what he says. Because he says that it's okay for you to do whatever you feel like doing. It's okay. It's okay for him to sit here and touch on little boys because, you know, Christ died on the cross for your sins. So you're telling me pedophilia is okay. You're telling me homosexuality is okay, even though the Bible speaks against it. You're telling me all these things are okay because Christ died on the cross? Well, is it okay if the building fund never gets paid? Is it okay if nobody puts a dime in the collection plate anymore for the rest of their life? Is that okay? If that's not okay, then none of these things that you're telling us that is okay is all right. Eating pork, crab, shrimp, or lobster, not okay. Being homosexual, not okay. Sitting here giving wicked counsel to tell a wife to leave her husband because her husband been on her case about her dressing like a whore is not okay. Sitting here telling a married woman that she can divorce her husband and leave her husband is not okay. Telling a brother that he can leave his wife, it is not okay. Hearing the truth, we know the law. The only way that you are not married to one another is if your wife commits adultery. If she commits adultery, the man she slept with is now her husband. That's the only way that that's no longer your wife. So stop giving these wicked counsels, pastors. Stop leading our people astray. Because it's time for us to get our people out of this death and the shadows of death, which are in your hands. The darkness is there in the Christian church. The shadow of death is there and lies with the Christian church, the Catholics, the Pope, the Muslims that's teaching you all these wicked things, like to serve a rock or a cobblestone. Have you doing all these prayers, but then you're going right back into sin. That is the shadow of death that here in the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge, we let our light shine through. We don't take ills because we let our light shine. And what it also said is to guide our feet unto the ways of peace. If you want peace, if you want to know what true peace is, learn the law, statutes, and commandments. Come into the Israelite School, the Universal Practical Knowledge, learn these laws, statutes, and commandments, and learn how to be perfect. That's where you get peace. That's where you go through stuff, but you have the peace of mind to know that the Lord will be with you through everything that you're going through, because he's in the midst. He's not in the midst of the Christian church. He's not in the midst of the Catholic church, because they're sitting here raping altar boys and you're still taking your children there. How is the Lord in the midst of that, man? How? To be a better brother, to be a better sister, to be a better wife, to be a better husband, it is time for us to get into the truth, man. It's time to get into the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge under Commander General YAHANNA. Learn your heritage. Learn who you are. Learn what you are supposed to be doing and do it to perfection. Do it like if I mess up, I die. Go to Ecclesiastes chapter 2, verse 5, man. We done talked about being a light and letting your light shine. Now, let me tell y'all what's going to happen when you come into the light. When you come into the light, there's something that you will start dealing with. And while you're dealing with it, you need to take it with your chin held high and take it cheerfully. Go ahead and read.
This is the book of Ecclesiastes out of the Apocrypha, chapter 2, verse 5. For gold is tried in the fire, and acceptable men in the furnace of adversity.
Why does it say acceptable men in the furnace of adversity? Why does it say that gold is tried in the fire and acceptable men in the furnace of adversity? Why does it say that?
Because I guess, in order to get gold, that everybody knows, what I'm saying, it has to be burned of its impurities.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I guess with acceptable men, what I'm saying, you're shedding yourself from, the actions of this world and being a part of this world, what I'm saying, and faced with, trials, to see if you're actually, what I'm saying, for the Most High.
Right. To get the purest gold, you have to melt it down.
Right.
To get an acceptable man, what do you have to do? You got to first melt down the spirit in the person that he was.
Right.
Because we always in the world, and we have to go through the furnace of adversity to become that new creature. So what you said, Ak, is right on. That's the only way for you to get that. The only way for you to get that is for you to first go through the furnace of affliction. Go to Isaiah 48 and go to verse 10. Because it says it more than once that you got to go through a furnace. To be a better brother, you got to go through a furnace. To be a better sister, you have to go through the furnace of affliction. You have to be tried. You have to go through the hard times. You have to shed yourself of the world. Go ahead and read.
This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 48, verse 10.
Right.
Behold, I have refined thee, but not with silver. I have chosen thee in the furnace of affliction.
You are chosen out of the furnace of affliction because that shows who you truly are. The Lord knows who you are through the furnace of affliction. You know who you are because of the Lord knows who you are as his soldier because of what you go through and how you go through it and how you handle it. He said in what was it, Matthew's, he said that acceptable men, no, in Ecclesiastes, it said acceptable men are in the furnace of adversity. And it also said that I didn't refine you in silver and gold, but I refined you through the furnace of affliction in Isaiah. This is letting you know that you have to be tried. You have to go through something to become the man that you are supposed to be. There's trials, there's tests that we go through every single day. It doesn't matter what your rank is. You go through it still. And like I said, this class is to teach us how to become better brothers, better sisters. I'm not talking to you like I'm better. I'm talking to you like this is the same stuff that I go through. I go through tests. I go through the furnace of affliction. I go through the face of adversity all the time. And I have to choose to be a brother, to be a husband, to be an Adawan, better and more than to think of myself. When you're selfish, you do whatever you feel like for yourself. When you're selfless, you do whatever you have to for your people. And that's how you become a better brother, a better sister, a better wife, a better husband, a better leader. You have to become selfless. Go to Ecclesiastes chapter 2 and start at verse 1. The water.
This is Ecclesiasticus out of the Apocrypha, chapter 2, verse 1. My son, if thou come to serve the Lord, prepare thy soul for temptation.
Why are you supposed to prepare your soul for temptation when you come to serve the Lord? What happens when you finally make that decision to come serve the Lord? What has happened to every brother and every sister that's decided to do that? Go ahead, Art.
He lost something.
You lost something. Stuff started hurting. You started going through more stuff. You feel like all your family done turned their back on you.
Right.
You feel like women done left. You feel like brothers done left. You feel like everybody that you were cool with all of a sudden now acting funny. Why? Because that is the temptation for you to go back into the world. That's the test and the trials to see if you will go back into the world because things are getting tough. Everybody that you've always been cool with, they no longer want to answer the phone. So what you gonna do? You gonna go back to smoking weed and go back and chill with them? Hey man, I was just joking, man. I was just joking about being in the truth, man. Hey, pass me the blunt. Or are you gonna be like, well, shoot, you know what? If they leave, then shoot, so be it. Because I'm gonna serve the Lord. That's the choices that you have to make. And the Bible is telling you to prepare your soul for temptation when you choose to come serve the Lord. Go ahead and keep reading that.
Verse 2. Set thy heart aright and constantly endure, and make not haste in time of trouble.
Man, you have to prepare your heart, man. Prepare your mind for it. And it says, and consistently endure, constantly endure. Be consistent in your endurance, man. When you're enduring, All right. I want you to search up the definition of endurance. All right. Like you have to, when the Bible tells you to endure, endurance and enduring stuff is not you just doing, okay, I'm gonna do the best I can, and then after a certain time, then I can't take it no more. That's not enduring. You got the definition out? What does it say the definition is?
Endurance, Google definition, the fact or power of enduring an unpleasant or difficult process or situation without giving away. Without giving way.
And this is what the Bible told you. The Bible tells you, he that endured to the end shall be saved. So if you endure the temptation of going back into the world and you never go back, if you endure sin, if you stay away from it, if you can endure the hardship of being light into a place of darkness, if you can fight, stay fighting, and never give up fighting, if you can endure your marriage, if you can endure the hard times that you are going through because the Most High is going to get you out of it, if you endure to the end, you shall be saved. Like, that's why it's telling you to constantly endure. And then it says, and make not haste in time of trouble. Don't always, like, none of us like the hard times, man. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't even like the hard times. But when we deal with hard times, that's the furnace of affliction. Those hard times is the furnace of affliction. And by you enduring to the end, never giving up, never turning your back to it, never running from it, you put your chin up and you step through it and you never stop. You endure to the end. That right there is what the Most High wants from us. Y'all brothers that just graduated Hebrew Academy, y'all know about enduring to the end. Y'all dealt with it. It wasn't a light thing.
Right.
Y'all dealt with endurance. There was a time that y'all all, and I know it. There was a time that all y'all wanted to give up. There was a time y'all demons was like, you know what, man, I don't know if I feel like doing this. I don't know if I want to do this every week. Come out here for Hebrew Academy while you was at the trials. A demon could have been telling y'all, you know what, man, it may be time for me to just go ahead and go home. Let me raise my hand and go home. But what happened? All you brothers endured to the end.
That's right.
And y'all saw the blessing that was given unto you by you enduring to the end. Y'all earned those covers. Y'all earned the right to say that y'all are 2022. And now y'all earned the power and the oath that y'all have to do when it comes down to being a better brother. Because y'all learned about what brotherhood was. Y'all seen it. So now y'all have to do it for the next class that comes. And for the next generation, y'all have to be brothers to them. Y'all have to give that brotherhood to them. You have to give that brotherhood to the brothers that's out on the street. Because that's your job. Now it's time for you to constantly endure. Keep reading that.
Verse 3, cleave unto him and depart not away, that thou mayest be increased at thy last end.
Cleave to the Most High, man. Cleave to this truth and never let it go. There's been brothers that dropped their sword because they didn't want to cleave to the truth. They didn't want to cleave to the Most High and his words. To be a better brother, You have to cleave to the truth. You have to cleave to what's right. And that's the only thing that's being taught to you here in the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge. You are being taught what is right for the first time in your life. So yeah, your demons don't want to sit here and take in what's being said because they rather do wrong than to have to do right.
Right.
Endure. Endure the struggles. Endure the hard time, man. Endure. Keep reading.
Verse 4. Whatsoever is brought upon thee, take cheerfully, and be patient when thou art changed to a low estate.
Understand this, man. In everything that we do, man, everything, all the tests, all the trials, all the furnace of affliction, the pain, the agony of being in the truth, all the things that we do, we endure to the end, and we take it cheerfully, man. Stop sitting here making it seem like it's grievous to sit here and do the work of the Lord, man. It's not grievous. It's not grievous for us to follow the law, statutes, and commandments. It's not. It's not hard. If you would try it, if you would listen, if you would obey, if you would do what you are supposed to do, then nothing will be hard for you. Nothing. Because you know your Father has you. And you're not doing it for nobody else but the Most High. That's what being a brother is. That's what being a better brother is. That's what being a better husband is. To constantly endure hardship. Brothers and sisters, when y'all are sitting here in y'all marriage and y'all are at home and y'all going through struggles, you have to endure. That ain't the time to give up. That ain't the time to run from one another. It's the time for you to endure. Because at the end of the day, that's the only way that you will see somebody make 17 years, 18 years, 32 years, 55 years together. They had to endure one another. And that's what we have to do here in the truth. We have to endure. We have to hold on to this brotherhood. Hold on to this sisterhood. Hold on to this family that you gained when you left the world and joined the I.S.U.P.K under Commander General YAHANNA, man. Hold on to it. And when you hold on to it, you fight for it every day. And when you fight for it every day, you face the furnace of affliction. You face the strife. You face the struggles of this world, and you continue to fight. You do everything in your might to never give up on your people. Never give up on your brothers. Never give up on your sisters. Because the Most High didn't give up on us. And he's given us ample opportunities. So many opportunities to do right, that who are we to give up on our people just because we came out a couple of times to camp and they don't want to hear us? Who are you? You keep going to camp. You keep getting your people out of this hell until we get the order to stop. That's true brotherhood and sisterhood, man. Ike, you got anything?
Laga, what you were saying was heavy because, like even Paul himself, said, that he died daily.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So he fought his flesh, daily, to endure. And that's what makes that Second Timothy 4:7, also great. The Christians, they always put this, at funeral time when he says, I have fought a good fight and have finished my course. That means he, that, when somebody died, that's what they, put on the obituary or whatever. But, basically what they're saying is that he endured to the end. I have kept the faith, which means that he endured not only his his lust of the flesh, you know what I'm saying? But he had to help other brothers fight theirs.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And he did it, you know, dying daily. You know what I'm saying? He had to fight every day and endure every day. You know what I'm saying? Until, you know, he eventually, you know, passed.
That's a heavy point.
Right.
Like, we do have to die every day. We die daily. And that's why I say, like, we're not sitting here saying we're better. We follow the law, statutes, and commandments, so that puts us in a better position than our brothers and sisters that don't follow the law, statutes, and commandments. But the same way we tell y'all to fight every single day, we fight every single day.
Right.
We kill ourselves daily to be better for our people. And that's never going to stop, man. And as long as you're sitting here calling yourself a priest, calling yourself a sister in the truth, you need to kill yourself daily. Kill your demons daily to fight for the Lord, to fight for the Most High, to fight for this truth, to fight for the honor for the Lord to say, well done, my good and faithful servant. Come on in. Because if you don't endure to the end, because if you don't fight, the Lord will tell you, depart from me, because I never knew you. And that's the worst thing that we ever could hear. It's our Father telling me that I never knew you. So Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, it's time for us to be better brothers, better sisters, better husbands, and better wives. And now you have some of the tools to do that, man. And with that, we're going to say Amajim, which means to stand. We're going to say the Lord's Prayer in the Hebrew and then in English. All right? Sor, which means to face the east. Abanawa, Shabbat Shemayim, Kodash, Hayah, Shemka, Yahweh, Malakwaka, Taba'ah, Ratazayaka, Hayah, Asha, Barataza, Kawa, Hayah, Bashamayim, Nathanawa, Lacham, Kal, Yawam, Wasalaknawa, Kabawaknawa, Kasalaknawa, Kabawaknawa, Walaa, Tabayanawa, Banasayawan, Abal, Aishanawa, Mayan, Rai, Kaya, Laka, Hamalakwa, Wahala, Wahata Para, La Awalumya, Aman. In the English, our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever. So be it. Sor, which means to face the front. We're going to give a courtesy salute to the brothers, then to the sisters. Men of Israel, Ma'am Shabbat, Ma'am Barak, Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shah Barakatah, Yahweh Matah, Sor, face the sisters. Men of Israel, Ma'am Shabbat, Ma'am Barak, Yahweh Shemal Adabah Shem Yahweh Shah, Yahweh Matah, dismissed.